Hello everyone, welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney and today is Tuesday, October 26th. Thank you for being here for the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. We start off with an update on the trial that had been going on in Akron for quite some time for Stanley Ford, who was found guilty of the murder related to 2 fires of 9 people in the Akron area. He was sentenced today to 9 consecutive life sentences plus 21 years for an additional charge. He was sentenced today here in Summit County, and that 21 additional years on the end was for an attempted murder charge. Again, this is for taking the life of 9 people in 2 separate arsons in the Akron area. A jury earlier this month found him guilty of all counts of aggravated murder and had recommended sentencing him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now, Ford had been facing the death penalty, but the jurors could not reach a unanimous decision on whether to execute him, so that was taken off the table and now sentenced to 9 consecutive life sentences. The fires that left people dead occurred in May of 2017 and also in 2016. That second fire killing 7 people, a family of 7, Dennis Huggins, Angela Boggs, and their 5 children, Cameron, Olivia, Kylie, Deja, and Jared. They had a 6th child who was 18 who was not home at the time of the fire. Now, it was about a year earlier in 2016 when a fire, also found to have been set by Stanley Ford, took the lives of Lindell Lewis and Gloria Jean Hart. Ford, however, was not arrested until about a week after the second fire in May of 2017. Today, Dennis Huggins' mother, Denise, told him at the sentencing that since he has to live the rest of his life in jail, she is satisfied. She said she was not in favor of executing him and that nobody has to worry about Stanley Ford doing harm to their family any longer. Now, Ford, throughout the entire time, has maintained his innocence. At the sentencing hearing today, he thanked the families for statements of forgiveness and compassion, but otherwise did not make any other formal statement. However, he did attempt to interrupt the judge as the judge was issuing her statement about the sentencing decision. At that point, the judge told him, "You had an opportunity to talk. You're done." She said, "I have sat on my hands for 4.5 years and listened to you rant and rave about how you've been railroaded, how they were setting you up, how I was giving signals to them, how I'm on their side when I bent over backwards to make sure you had a safe, effective, and fair trial." Now, the judge also said that her becoming emotional at the sentencing, that some people might see that as a sign of weakness, but that she sees it as a sign of compassion towards the people who Stanley Ford has now been found to have taken their lives. Now, this was Ford's second trial. The first trial started in early 2020, but that was postponed because of the COVID-19 pandemic before it was eventually declared a mistrial. This second trial began in August. It lasted about a month before the verdict came in, finding him guilty of all of those counts. And now Ford will begin a sentence of 9 consecutive life sentences in prison plus 21 years. He will be spending the rest of his life in custody. Moving on to Bedford now. A Bedford High School is temporarily shifting to all remote learning through Wednesday. It's not because of the COVID-19 pandemic, though. It's because of fights and threats of violence, according to that administration. So they'll be holding all classes online through Wednesday. Officials did not specify the exact nature of exactly what is happening in the Bedford High School area, but they did say several students are currently facing discipline. Here's what the administration said in a statement. "The decision to move the high school to virtual learning temporarily was not made lightly, but we must make the safety and security of our students and staff a top priority." Now, we know that district leaders will be taking the next few days to look over the high school's safety plans and implement enhancements where needed. When students do return to classes, they will be required to adhere to these upgraded measures or face discipline. This is a developing story. We will have more on this on WKYC.com, on the WKYC app, and in our broadcasts throughout the evening. Now, some good news today out of the Cleveland Clinic. Researchers will be starting a trial for a vaccine that they hope will prevent triple-negative breast cancer. Now, if you're not familiar, triple-negative breast cancer is the most aggressive and most lethal form of breast cancer, and it doesn't typically respond to hormonal or targeted therapies, according to the medical professionals. It also represents a disproportionately higher percentage of breast cancer deaths and has a higher rate of coming back after it has been treated. According to the Cleveland Clinic, triple negative breast cancer represents about 12 to 15% of all breast cancers, but a much higher percentage of actual breast cancer deaths. And we know that it is twice as likely to occur in African American women. So the phase 1 trial will help determine the maximum dose of the vaccine that can be tolerated by patients with early stage triple negative breast cancer, and to help characterize and optimize the body's immune response to the vaccine. This is after recently a new investigational drug application for the vaccine was approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. That opened up the door for the Cleveland Clinic and its partner, Annexa Biosciences, to start this study. Dr. G. Thomas Budd of Cleveland Clinic's Taussig Cancer Institute said the purpose of the study, the principal investigator of the study, he is the principal investigator of the study, says that long-term they're hoping this can be a true preventative vaccine that would be given to healthy women to prevent them from ever developing triple negative breast cancer, the form for which, according to him, they have the least effective treatments. Now let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers from the Ohio Department of Health. After 4 days in a row of seeing less new reported cases, we did see an increase today in new reported cases. That number, 3,807. Also, Tuesdays is one of the days that the Ohio Department of Health reports new deaths related to COVID-19 here in Ohio. So that number is now at 24,164. Currently, there are 2,550 people being treated in the hospital for COVID-19, and out of those people, 726 of them are being treated in an intensive care unit. We have an update now on the closures on I-90 today. There was a water main break on Cleveland East Side. Those lanes have now thankfully reopened. This is after a couple hours of some pretty tough traffic in the area. A water main broke near East 55th Street and it shut down multiple lanes on the highway. South Marginal Road was closed. There were several cars who got stuck in the flooding there, trapping some of the people until that flooding was able to subside. Westbound traffic was backed up all the way past South Marginal, and eastbound cars were bumper to bumper towards Superior Avenue downtown. But it is clear, it is open now. They have been able to clear those roadways. Now, if you were paying close attention today, you might have been able to get in on a surprise performance from the Foo Fighters. They're playing a special concert at the House of Blues Cleveland before the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony that's coming up this week. They will be performing on Thursday evening at the House of Blues. Tickets went on sale at noon today. They sold out in 2 hours. So that is a very hot ticket, as they will be inducted this weekend into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Foo Fighters, of course, featuring Dave Grohl, Taylor Hawkins, Rami Jaffe, Nate Mendel, Chris Shiflett, and Pat Smear, will be inducted by Paul McCartney on Saturday night at the Rocket Mortgage Field House. They are part of the stellar class of 2021 for the Rock Hall. Here are the people who will be inducted at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony this Saturday at Rocket Mortgage Field House. The performers, the Foo Fighters, as I just said, the Go-Go's, Jay-Z, Carole King, Todd Rundgren, and Tina Turner. The Ahmut Aragon Award will be given to Clarence Avant. The Musical Excellence Awards going to LL Cool J, Billy Preston, and Randy Rhoads, and the Early Influence Award going to Kraftwerk, Gil Scott-Heron, and Charlie Patton. And before we let you go here, if you have been following ABC's Dancing with the Stars, you know we have actually a lot of Northeast Ohio natives and people with ties to Ohio who are on this season of Dancing with the Stars, including Mike the Miz Mizanin. I interviewed him on my 3 Things to Know podcast. You can find that at wkyc.com/3 Things to Know. Also, Cavs former guard Iman Shumpert, and he had quite the performance yesterday. It's all over the internet. Everyone is talking about it. You know, it was just 5 years ago that he was receiving an NBA championship ring as a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers, but now he is on Dancing with the Stars, as I said. So the theme for yesterday's show was contemporary dance. He was there with his partner, Daniela Karagach. They had red jumpsuits on, and they were paying homage to the 2019 horror film Us, and they danced to a remix to one of the movie's signature songs, I Got 5 on It. And because of the combination of the creativity and the skill of the dance and some impressive acting from the two of them, the performance really spoke for itself. It earned a perfect score of 40 out of 40 from the judges. And Judge Derek Huff said that that was something people are going to watch over and over and over. And if you want to be one of those people who watches it over and over and over, We do have it linked on WKYC.com. We have the YouTube video of the performance. Former Cavs guard Iman Shumpert and his partner Daniela Karagach. It is an incredible performance. I mean, I could talk about it all day, but you just need to go to WKYC.com and the WKYC app. You need to see that for yourself. And that is it for today's 3 News Now update today for Tuesday, October 26th. I will see you back here tomorrow with more 3 News Now.